Greetings and salutations, everyone! My name is Fire Mage, and welcome back to Rimworld Ascension Take 2, Episode 54. If you enjoy this episode, please remember to like and subscribe, and as always, mod list is down in the description. And with that, let's get on to the episode. Alright, picking up where we left off last time, what are my plans for today? Well, first and foremost, we will be finishing up the new asphalt road system, of course, since we're already working on it, and we will, hopefully, by the end of the episode, will have finished researching the specialized war caskets, and possibly even begin equipping them. Of course, that is potentially going to cost a lot of resources, so that one might take a bit longer to do, but we won't know until we get the technology for it. We will also be starting to make some more outfits. Now, specifically, I don't really want to make more military outfits, I want to make more construction outfits, which is exactly what we are going to set up here. Alright, so in terms of the tailoring bench, we will be making for each outfit a pair of boots, a builder's jacket, a backpack, a jumpsuit, and a hard hat. That should optimize the building speed, but that is not all we will be doing. So we will also be making the tool belt, which, as you can see here, increases repair success chance, construction speed, success chance on constructions, and smoothing speed for stone. All very good stuff. And the final thing, which is actually going to need us to make a smithy so that we can make some hammers to get that little bonus as well. And we will just go ahead and steal Reaper to go ahead and start working on that. And once all that's done, we can go ahead and start setting up some armor racks to hold those outfits. Alright, and there we go. The smithy is built, and that means that we can now use it and queue up some hammers. We'll only make one hammer for now, as we are only going to make one construction outfit just to make sure everything works the way it should, and we will be storing it right here. Alright, if that works the way it should, we should have a proper construction outfit to give to one of our constructors. And there it is. The final piece of a real proper construction outfit. And with that, we now have a complete uniform right here, which we are going to give to Skypanese. There we go. Only thing that we need to take back off the rack is that bolt-action rifle, which Skypanese will simply pick up and have in her inventory. Although we want the hammer equipped for the work bonus. As for the armor that's now on the rack, we simply take it all off and we build another construction outfit. We are going to need a few of these things, since we have so many constructors in the colony. Alright, so I was looking over our resource situation, and it has come to my attention that we are down to 14 components. How we burned through 164 so quickly, I don't quite know, but I have a feeling it has something to do with the ridiculous amount of turrets I built. But because of that, it is time for us to send out another mining squad, because my long-range scanner just found some components on one of these tiles. I'm gonna have to figure out which one, because there's a lot of them. But I'm sure I can figure that out pretty quick. In the meantime, though, that means I need to get the mining squad. And I'm actually going to try and organize the mining squad to be in one location right along the bar so that it's a little easier to assign them. So obviously Bicep and Wiggy are going to be my miners, but as always we need to send someone who is a decent shot in order to make sure they don't get killed. And I think we will send Blackjack as their guardian, because Blackjack is good at shooting, can technically do construction, and also has good medical, although it is a bit risky because they are our moral chief. If everything goes to plan, nothing bad should happen. Alright, well, I found the component deposit, only there's a mild problem. Hostile activity detected, which means there are going to be bad guys there, which means we are actually going to need to send a much larger team than I would personally like. And that means that we are going to need to equip our soldiers, because we're going to be going into a fight. Which also means I'm going to need to bring more people than I was anticipating, which is not ideal. So we will equip the 2 miners in the shock trooper armor, since they aren't good at shooting. Grenade launchers should hopefully be a bit better for them, hopefully. And we'll send Silveranus as well. Give them one of the heavy autoloader rifles. Should work quite nicely. And unlike the last few times we've done this, let's make sure we actually reload the weapons. Alright, chances are that is going to be a large enough squad. Let's go ahead and form our vehicle caravan. Well, in the meantime, while they're off doing that, let's go ahead and start getting ready for some of the future car upgrades I want to do for those vehicles. Namely, I want to give them some off-road wheels. So we'll need to make 5 of those, but that shouldn't be too terribly difficult or time-consuming. Then all we have to do is go to the chem fuel tap here, make sure we can pull out 10, and then our lovely crafters should get on that at some point. And we have arrived at the component lump. Alright, looking around, not seeing any hostiles. Oh, there are man-hunting animals here. That is not what I was expecting. People with guns, not animals. Well, suppose I shouldn't be too terribly upset about that. I mean, it's better than what I was expecting to have to fight. There it is. Specialized war caskets are researched. And that means we can finally see what exactly that is going to cost us. And in terms of the next research, we are going to be going for Nuclear Dawn. However, we can't do that until we build an ENIAC. So research will once again be going on hold for a little bit. Now, Reaper, please entomb in war casket so that I may see what exactly I need to do for this. Alright, here we go. Let's go ahead. We want the barrage armor. There we go. Alright, that is not nearly as expensive as I thought it would be. That's actually remarkably affordable. Concerning. Well, we can do this, I suppose. And we can also pick the color. Well, seeing as, if I remember correctly, our military uniforms are gray, we will stick with the gray theme and simply make these also gray. We actually have the resources needed to build this now. Interesting. Now, how exactly do we put the stuff in it? Well, let's go ahead and just see what Skypanies can do. Already hauling stuff in. And so long as we don't build anything that needs components, we should have enough to do this. And this will be our first of 2 war caskets, because we still need to get Baskling recruited. Ah, and it would seem the first of our whiskey has finished brewing. Very nice. And this should give us a nice global work speed bonus if we drink it. But we can also double age it, which is exactly what we're going to do. Because we might as well. It'll make us a little bit more money. So I don't see any reason not to convert half of our distillery into simply making double-aged whiskey. And there it is, our very own Barrage War Casket in all of its glory, and as I suspected, comfortable temperature range is well below what a Saurid needs. Excellent. Now all we need to do is make sure we equip Reaper with an appropriate weapon. Let's go ahead and check out the Charge Blaster and see if we can't use that. Ah, it doesn't even require ammunition. How fascinating. And it's got a pretty good range on it, too. That's what I like to see. Alright, let's see. So, the Grenade Barrage ability is, as expected, pretty short range. But there's also this Siege mode, which increases attack range. Check it out. And there we go. That's more like it for the Grenade Barrage. Most excellent. Ah. And now he's stuck here for 2 hours. Interesting. Unless I just undraft him. And our trucks have returned with their haul of goodies. Well, now that we have Reaper in a War Casket, I think it's pretty safe to say we can check Get Fancy War Caskets off the list. And while we don't have Bask in one yet, Bask is admittedly going to take a little bit longer, and we do have one, so I count that as a success, which brings us to the next project in making sure we can face our foes, and that is vehicles, our one main advantage. Now, I don't know when this happened, what episode it happened in, but my Scytheman is gone. No idea where it went, vanished into the abyss. So we're going to need to build 2 of those instead of just one additional one like I was planning. And that is exactly what we are going to start with. We are going to build another Scytheman. Now, that means we are going to need to make a whole lot of parts for it. But shouldn't be too terribly difficult. We now have all the components we could need for such a project. Oh, and a bulk goods trader from the Western Republic. Very interesting. Well, in that case, let's go ahead. Beller Rose, I'm going to need you to put on the trading outfit and go see what these guys have to offer. We got a lot of money, and I am more than willing to buy stuff right now. Alright, let's see what this bulk goods trader is offering. First of all, they are willing to buy our insect meat. Always a good thing to sell. They're willing to sell us cloth. Once again, something we need and are more than willing to pay for. They are also willing to buy a couple of our different weird leathers. So we are getting 259 cloth and 397 silver. I consider that to be a very successful trade. And there it is. The last of our constructing uniforms has been made. That one will be going to Sparkles. And with that, we have proven that our little tailoring workshop here does indeed work. Not that it wouldn't, but now we have confirmed it. And speaking of workshops, I am going to make the next specialized one, which is actually going to simply be a little addition to the concrete plant, that being an electric smelter. Since this is our chunk stockpile zone and the steel is stored there, it makes more sense to just simply store that up there so that the steel can just be stored and not have to be run all the way up. Save a little bit of time for everyone involved. And once that's done, we are going to make a few modifications to this building, and we can go ahead and knock off the specialized workshops. And speaking of the list, there are a few changes I need to make. Namely, I am going to be removing the steel factory and the laundry mat because, well, we don't really need a steel factory anymore. I severely was underestimating how much steel you can get from the long-range scanner and even the just deep drills in general. So, don't really need to do that. And the laundromat, it would be nice, but now we can make most of the stuff that we needed that to wash to get rid of the tainted apparel. So, again, not really all that useful anymore. And that means we can focus more on getting these last couple of projects done. Of course, we won't be starting any of them until we can finish the road, but they've almost done that. Just a little bit right here and over here, and it will be done. And there we go. The last of the roads has been finished. And that means that we get to now pick our next project. And I think that is going to be a little bit of a mix of working on the chem fuel and working on the guest houses. Now, in terms of the chem fuel, all I am going to be doing with that is simply setting up a few more generators spread around the base. You know, maybe we'll put one right here, and then we'll put another one right here, I think. And with those, we, of course, will need to run the pipeline to them, which shouldn't be too terribly difficult, as I am simply going to follow the road like so, which keeps everything nice and simple. There we go. And that will be the next little expansion to that, which will also get us closer to being able to power up on ENIAC. In fact, let's actually put one more of these, and it will be the one to help power the dining hall. Now, of course, that's not all we're going to do. I did say I was going to start working on the guest houses, and here's where things are going to get a little complicated, because I'm going to be completely redoing them. With all the technology we've gained in the last 10 or so episodes, these are completely outdated and obsolete, so we need to rebuild them, and we need to rebuild them better. And also in line with our modern building philosophy. But, of course, that means that we can't really fit them here any longer. So I plan to utilize this nice big open space. However, there is a problem with that. That being, the warehouse is smack dab in the middle of where I want to put the guest houses. So, the first thing we're going to do to begin work on updating the guest houses is building a new warehouse. And that new warehouse will be going right here, because it's a perfect little spot for it. It's right next to the tailoring and the workshop. It's a central location. All in all, a perfect spot. Now, of course, that means I have to actually design the thing, and we still want it to look nice, so this is probably going to take me a little bit. Alright, and I think this will be the general shape we go with. I think it's time that we get access to communicating with orbital traders. And while we could build a comms console, which does the job, apparently a radio terminal also does that job. So we'll use one of those simply because it is smaller. And instead of using the orbital trade beacons, we're going to do an antenna tower and see if that works the way I think it does. Because if it does, that will be wonderful. And of course, we will be moving the trading outfit into the warehouse so that it is easier to utilize. Ah, and an exotic goods trader from the White Mire settlement. Very good indeed. You all know the drill by this point. Feller Rose, equip the trading outfit, and then go see what they have to sell. Exotic goods traders always have something interesting. Alright, and the exotic goods trader already has things I'm interested in. They have 3 advanced components. Always a pleasure to get my hands on those. And looks like that is about it. Although they do have some books, which I suppose we can go ahead and purchase. Especially this one that does plants and social. That is very useful. And alas, they still do not have a bionic spine. The one thing I need. Although they do have Glitterworld medicine. We'll go ahead and grab that. It's pretty useful. And there we go. The basic building for the new warehouse is finished. All that's left is to build the radio terminal, which is finished just now, and the antenna tower. Now, on top of all of that, we now need to actually connect it all up to some power, like that. And then, of course, we need to put in some shelves. And we'll just do, as usual, some simple big shelves. Don't need to go too terribly fancy with it. And we'll do a little something like this for over here. And a little something like this for over here. As you can see, unlike the old warehouse, this one has significantly more shelves, which helps make up for the fact that it's about 24 tiles smaller than the old one. At least I hope it'll make up for it. And there we go. The new warehouse is finished in all of its glory. And I'm going to leave this episode off here. We made a lot of progress. We got the next Scytheman built right here. Apparently it just got finished. We got a war casket of the barrage variety. And we got a new warehouse built so that next episode we can start working on updating the guest houses to be a little bit fancier to make us more money. And on top of all of that, we also now have our power generators being hooked up to the Chemfuel network so that we can also work on getting an ENIAC so that we can build nuclear weapons. But with all that said and done, I will see you all in the next episode.